Oh no. I've lost a book. I'll get that later. It's not for any of my prompts. Okay. Oh no, this is a disaster. What's up everyone? My name is Kelsey. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a TBR planning video. I've never done one of these before, but June is Pride Month and I'm doing a couple of readathons and I have to like figure out how I'm arranging those books. So I figure it deserves a whole video. If you've been here a while, you know that I read queer books pretty much all year round. It makes up like 80% of my reading, but during June, I like to go extra hard and pack as much queer books into 1 month as I possibly can. So this month, or this year for Pride Month, I'm participating in Queer Lit Readathon, Read Your Gaze, and Spectrum Reads. So 3 different readathons. The first 2 are week-long readathons, and the last one will cover the whole month. So I've written down all the prompts on my like planning sheet here, and I kind of have a general idea of some of the books I want to read. So I'm just going to go through and chat about what I plan on reading and what prompts they fit as far as I know anyways. If you're new here, or fairly new anyways, you might not know, but I am asexual and biromantic or panromantic. I use both labels. So reading queer books other than just gay and lesbian is pretty important to me. So I have quite a few books in the stack. I also have a couple books on hold at the library and I have a few ebooks. So I guess we'll just get into the prompts. The first readathon I'm doing is the Queer Lit Readathon, which takes place May 31st to June 6th. And this is a long running readathon. It's been going on for a long time and they do multiple, events each year. It's not just a Pride Month readathon. For all of these readathons, I'm gonna put all the links in the description so you can check them out along with like all the hosts and the announcement videos and things like that so you can, you know, do it yourself if you want to. But Queer Lit Readathon is really well managed and everything is put out so far in advance so that you can plan things properly, which I super appreciate. They do like a checkerboard style prompt, so you can try and get a blackout or you can just do like 4 corners or just get a bingo. I am trying to do a blackout, but I'm definitely overlapping challenges as much as possible, especially since I'm also participating in Spectrum Reads, which is the entire month of June. So some of my prompts for this first week of Queer Lit Readathon will also have to go towards the Spectrum Reads. I don't know why I make this so like challenging for myself. I do think it's fun to try and meet these challenges. It's like an interesting way to choose your books. Sometimes I get so overwhelmed when there's like no reason for me to pick a certain book. Like looking at my TBR shelf and trying to decide what to read is overwhelming. So sometimes I kind of like being guided. All right, so for Queer Lit Readathon, the first book I'm reading is If Not Winter by Sappho, and that's a poetry collection. So one of the challenges is queer poetry, and the other challenge is backlist title. And I feel like classic poetry by Sappho is definitely considered a backlist. So I have this on hold at my library and they're doing like curbside delivery right now. So I should get that in the next couple days and I'll be able to read it. And I've been wanting to read some of this poetry for a while just because, I mean, Sappho is like the originator of the term sapphic. So it feels like a necessity for a sapphic person. I'm not super into poetry though, so I'm a little worried that I'll hate it, but it is what it is. All right, the second challenge is group read, and for that is This Is What It Feels Like by Rebecca Barrow. And I'm also putting that under summer vibes because the cover is very summery and I'm pretty sure it takes place during summer. Like there's some kind of music competition, I think. So that should be fun and summery. And it's sapphic. There's a female-female relationship, and I think the main character is either the main character or the love interest is bi, because I know there's a previous male-female relationship in the book. I don't know, we'll see. Next I just realized I don't really have a book for this yet. So Queer Friends is one of the prompts. And these are like all the queer books I have on my shelf right now. Queer Friends. Okay, for this I think I'm gonna do We Set the Dark on Fire because I'm pretty sure everyone in this book is queer, so that should fill the Queer Friends prompt. And this is another one that's sapphic. It's a young adult fantasy, I believe. But a ton of people have recommended it to me, so hopefully that's good. Let's see, next, there's a make your own category prompt on this board. So for this one I'm doing historical romance, and this is a book someone recommended to me. And I've had really bad luck with historical romances in the past, but I've never tried a sapphic one, so we'll see if it's better. And this is just a novella. It's called A Little Light Mischief by Kat Sebastian. And she's a pretty popular sapphic author, so I have high hopes, but I'm also worried. All right, next is Female Over 40, and it actually took me a while to find a book for this one because like I have a few in mind, but they're ones I've already read. So like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo would count, and The Fifth Season and The Library of the Unwritten all have protagonists over 40, or female protagonists over 40 that are also queer. So it's like a very specific category, but I appreciate it because there are so many books about young women, and I like to see older women because, you know, I get older every year. So for this one, I'm reading The Four Profound Weaves by R.B. Limburg, and this is an arc I have, and it's a novella. And I asked someone who already read it, and there are 2 elderly trans protagonists. So I'm just gonna go to the description really quick. Okay, yeah, it's just an adult fantasy. I don't want to read too much about it because I already have a hard time feeling like novellas are too short, so I don't want to know too much about the plot. But it's set in the Birdverse, which is apparently a long-running collection of books by this author, but this can be read standalone as far as I can tell. Okay, next is Queer Sports, and for this one, I ordered this book. It's just taking a while to get here, so it's Check Please Volume 2, and this one is covering a lot of these challenges for me. So Queer Sports, because Check Please follows our main character Biddy as he starts college on a hockey scholarship and like makes friends and has romantic connections, and it's like a fun, lighthearted story that I really, really enjoyed, so I can't wait to get to Volume 2. So that's covering Queer Sports, non-coming out, because he comes out in Volume 1, so we should be good with Volume 2, hopefully. Otherwise, maybe one of the other ones will cover it. Graphic novel, because it is a graphic novel. Host rec, and I cannot remember which host recommended this, but I checked, so I'm sure. Then Bi or Pan, wait, no, that's a different book, sorry. Then 5-star prediction, because I gave Volume 1 5 stars, so I can only assume Volume 2 will be 5 stars. This is also a web series, so I think technically you could read the whole thing online, but I just prefer a book format. Okay, next is Rainbow Cover, and for that I'm doing, Rainbow Cover is kind of a misleading name because you could do a book with a rainbow on the cover, or you can pick a book with one color prominently featured. So I'm doing This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. Features blue, clearly. And this is a book that everyone's raving about. I've been told it's a time-traveling Romeo and Juliet, enemies to lovers through letters. I'm a little concerned because I don't normally like elaborate, flowery writing, and I've heard that this book has that, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Okay, for By Pan MC, that's actually also going to be This Is What It Feels Like by Rebecca Barrow. I forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, so the last prompt I have for this is disabled main character, and for this I'm reading Unbroken, 13 stories starring disabled teens, and this is a collection of stories from different authors, and I was recommended this by Kitty at Jelly Fable, I think, and not all of these stories have queer teens, but a number of them do, so this should work. Now for the second readathon, which is Read Your Gaze, and this is hosted by Boston. This is the only one of the readathons hosted by a single person, so it's the only one I remember specifically. And it takes place June 8th to the 15th, and it's queer scouts themed, which is kind of fun. So each prompt is like a badge. So to earn your badge, you read a book to meet that prompt. And again, I'm overlapping prompts. So for the camping badge, read a book that takes place in the woods. And for that, I'm doing Red Skies Falling by Alex London, just here. This is the second book in a series, so I can't say too much. Is this a trilogy or a duology? I can't remember. I read book 1 last year and I only gave it 3 stars, but it was a very compelling read. Like, these are pretty hefty books and I read it in less than 2 days, so the writing itself is at least engaging, even if I had some questionable thoughts about the plot and the characters. But I think this book follows our female character more, and she is asexual and aromantic, and I think that gets explored more in this book. And then the main character, Guy, is gay, and there's a male-male relationship, I believe, so that fits. The first book follows, it's set in a world where there are falconers, is that what they're called? When you train birds, and they kind of train birds to battle, which is one of the biggest problems I had with the book because I was really uncomfortable the whole time reading that. But, you know, it's fantasy and there's some magic stuff going on. There's also like a little bit of political shit happening. I don't know. I wish I could have given you a better explanation of that, but I don't really remember. Okay, Badge 2 is the art badge, a book with an illustrated cover. So for this I have, oh shit, is this illustrated? Or is this a photo? God damn it. I think this is a photographic cover. What are we gonna do? Okay, we're switching that from Girls of Storm and Shadow to Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. Here, because that's another book I'm reading for another prop I'll tell you about later. I don't know anything about this book. It's a contemporary, and I believe it follows a questioning teen who at the beginning of the book thinks she's a lesbian but then starts having feelings for a boy and is wondering if she's bisexual, and that's pretty much all I know about it. And the cover is illustrated. It's actually a very sweet, minimal looking cover, and I'm kind of into it. Okay, Bird Watching Badge, a book with a bird on the cover, which I fucked up again because I put Red Skies Falling by Alex London, but I can't read these in the same week. Do I have any other books with birds on the cover? No birds. Oh wait, what am I thinking? This is the second week. Okay, so Red Skies Falling does work because it counts for a prompt in this week. So Red Skies Falling is going to cover Camping Badge and Bird Watching Badge. What a relief, because this stack is getting hefty. All right, next badge is the Emergency Preparedness Badge, a dystopian or survival story. And for this, I'm going with Upright Women Wanted. Oh no. I've lost a book. I'll get that later. It's not for any of my prompts. Okay. Oh no, this is a disaster. Okay. Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey. This is a dystopian western with outlaw librarians, and that's pretty much all I need to know. It's sapphic. Again, there's a female-female relationship, I believe, but as far as I know, it's not romance-driven. I guess we'll find out. Next, Nature Badge, a book that prominently features nature. So for this, I'm going with The Edge of the Abyss. Oh Lord, this is dusty. The Edge of the Abyss by Emily Skrutsky, which is book 2 in the Abyss Surrounds Us series. Is that what it's called? And this is like kind of a pirate story, so it takes place in the ocean, and I'm counting that for nature. There's also giant sea monsters, so I feel like that counts. Book 1 in this series, I rave about it all the time, but if you don't know, it's a dystopian future where water has covered up a lot of the Earth's landmass, so sea travel is much more common for entertainment and transportation, and pirates have kind of made a comeback. So these genetically engineered monsters are meant to protect ships from pirates, but our main character Cass is a trainer of these creatures, and on her first trip out protecting a cruise liner, which is supposed to be an easy job, she's attacked by pirates and taken captive, and this pirate ship wants her to train a reckoner in order to be on their side. It's a great, great sci-fi, sapphic, dystopian, enemies to lovers story. I recommend it all the time, so I can't wait to read the second book. Okay, my stack is getting tall. The last badge in this is the Teamwork Badge, which is read the group book Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar, which I've already read, so I'm not going to reread it already. If you're interested in my thoughts, I loved it, and you should definitely read it. I'll link my video up above all about why you should read Felix Ever After. Okay, and last is the Spectrum Reads Readathon, which is the month-long portion of the readathon, and each week focuses on a different topic. So you're just supposed to read as many of those books as you can in each given week. I try to have at least one for the given topic each week. So week 1 is books with lesbian or gay rep, and for that I have Check Please Volume 2 and A Little Light Mischief. I think those both feature, well, Check Please is gay and A Little Light Mischief is lesbian, as far as I know. I also have This Is How You Lose the Time War, but I'm not 100% on that rep. They could be bi, I'm not sure. Week 2 is books with bisexual, trans, or non-binary rep. And for this, I'm adding into week 2, this is just an extra book that doesn't meet any of the other challenges, Sovereign by April Daniels, and this is book 2 in the Dreadnought series. Or is that what it's called? I don't know the actual name of the series, but it's book 2. The first book is Dreadnought, and it follows the main character. I can't even recall her name. Danny. She is a trans girl, but she's not out, and this is set in a world where superheroes are totally common, and Danny happens to be there when one of the most famous and strong superheroes dies, and when the superhero dies, he passes on his powers to Danny, and that power also gives the person their ideal, their best body, and it outs Danny as transgender. So it kind of follows her from there, and book 2 picks up where the last one leaves off. Just a warning, there's a lot of transphobia in this book, so it's not all like happy-go-lucky, but the end is fairly hopeful, if you're up for that. Okay, week 3. I just realized that I have Ramona Blue in here, but that will be a week 2 read. Oh well. So week 3, books with queer, questioning, or intersex rep. So I had Ramona Blue, but I'll be reading that in week 2. And then also The Ninth Life by Taylor Barton. The main character is genderqueer. And The Ninth Life, I have an arc of this that's not released yet, but it follows a main character who in previous lives was a cat, and I think there's kind of a love triangle, maybe? I pretty much know nothing about the actual plot of this book, but I was told that the main character was a cat in a previous life, and that sold me. That's all I need. Okay, week 4, books with asexual, pansexual, or demisexual rep, and for this I'll be reading The State of Us by Sean David Hutchinson. I'm getting a book box in June, and it's the first book box from Rainbow Crate, which is a queer-focused book box that will only feature books and art focused on queer books and characters. So I pre-ordered this a while ago, and it's now sold out, and now I'm worried. There's been a lot of talk on Twitter the last couple of days. When I first was anticipating this book, I just assumed for some reason that, well, let me tell you the plot synopsis first, which is it's set in the US, and it's kind of it's a political romance. So it's young adult, and the main characters are children of presidential candidates, and one is the child of the Democratic candidate and one is the child of the Republican candidate. And I just assumed for some reason that the child of the Republican candidate was not a Republican and was hiding that fact from his family and media. But I don't know, now I'm seeing reviews and mumblings that that's not the case, and this is going to be one of those uncomfortable meet in the middle, nobody's really wrong kind of deals. And I just don't know how down I am for that. Like, I could understand not, hating I understand getting along with people that have different views, but I literally cannot comprehend being in a relationship with someone with such different views than me. Like, I genuinely don't think I could do it, so I don't understand how someone could set up a romance like this and have it work out. I mean, I'm going to read the book because I ordered this book box and I want to support it because it's the only queer book box that exists for some reason. I'll link that in the description below. I'm hoping this book box gets a little more queer in its future selections, because I'm pretty sure the book and the fan art selections from this first box are all male-male pairings, which is cool. I mean, it's fine. I'm a fan of some of the stuff that they're putting in the box, but I don't know. It just feels like that's the stuff that already gets all the hype outside of queer book boxes. So I'm hoping going forward they mix it up and give us some like female-female or trans rep or like any other kind of queerness would be awesome. Anyways, I never actually said, but this book, The State of Us by Sean David Hutchinson, has a demisexual character, and he's kind of questioning throughout the book. Okay, so those are all of the books I've written down to meet actual prompts. Obviously, week 3 and 4 are a little lighter on the reading, but I'm taking a literature class this summer, so I know there's going to be a ton of reading for that, and the first 2 weeks are pretty light. I think it's like children's literature, so there'll be like picture books and young readers books, and that's not going to be difficult for me to manage. But after that we get into some heavier stuff, so I'm leaving my options open for week 3 and 4. If I have the time, I'll read more. I do have all of these books still to read. I would like to get to my library books because I think my library is opening back up in June for returns. So for those I would have to get to The Never Tilting World, The Empress of Forever, and Once Ghosted Twice Shy, which fell behind my desk. So that's everything I have to go through. Let me know if you're doing any of the Queer Readathons or if you're just reading queer books in June. I would love to hear about them. If you've read any of these and want to recommend something, tell me to read them first, please do so. I'd love to hear about them. If you want to keep talking, you can find me on Twitter at Kelsey Reads or Goodreads at Kelsey Lynn Reads. I post book-related videos every Wednesday, so if you want to see more, subscribe. If you like this video, hit like. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.